Yeah, we back with another interesting video. Now, not wasting no time, let's get into it. Today, we're going to be reviewing a debate between Pan-Africanism Strikes Back and Dwayne Omowale. Now, before we get into it, we got to understand this entire interaction popped off because a couple days ago or the other day, Dwayne had put out an article calling out Pan-Africanism Strikes Back. Dwayne basically said, Pan-Africanism strikes back, you're a conservative, you're a Republican, you're not a real Pan-Africanist, you're a fake Pan-Africanist. So, I'm going to call him Brandon. Brandon is Pan-Africanism Strikes Back. So let's get into it. Not wasting no time. Run the footage.
So we want to stay in the middle. I'm gonna read some of this, Lumumba, then I'm gonna let you say something. I've expressed my views in the past that Brandon of Pan-Africanism Strikes Back is not a serious Pan-Africanist. I'm in Africa. Dwayne Wong is wherever he is right now. I'm doing work, building what I need to build. No one knows what Dwayne's doing, but Dwayne Wong is able to tell somebody I'm not serious. Guys, that alone is a hypocritical statement. I'm not a serious Pan-African because I'm not a Negro sitting up at Lamert Park all day smoking weed, trying to sell.
Brandon, that's not why he stated you're not a serious
man. If you don't let me say, what I have to say, bro, don't ever try to filibuster me in the middle of saying what I'm saying. That's exactly what that nigga's doing. Period.
That's not what it is.
I don't listen, Lumumba. You can say whatever. I'm gonna let you talk, but I don't really give a shit what you're saying. Like that's what is he doing, Lumumba? What is he doing to where he gets to set the criteria for what a serious Pan-African is?
Well, he's not setting the criteria. Just continue.
What is he doing? I'm asking you a straight question as a man, not as a little kid. What is he doing that allows him to set the criteria for what a serious Pan-African is?
Well, once again, I stated he's not.
You don't know because you don't know him.
I do know him.
But that's not why he's saying that. Okay, so what is he doing, Lumumba, other than running his mouth?
Yes, yes, thank you for asking the question. So he's involved with a number of revolutionary activities on the continent.
What are the revolutionary activities?
Hold on. Let me
I need specifics.
I had to stop it, man. I had to stop the video real quick. Now, at this point, I think this is one of Dwayne's friends, one of Dwayne's homeboys coming to, defend his mans, right? And I think arguments like these are a slippery slope because once you begin to question somebody's character, their morality, their track record, their credentials, then immediately what happens is the conversation switches to something totally different. Now we're no longer talking about the subject at hand. At first, we were talking about conservatives, liberals, Donald Trump, Joe Biden. Now we're talking about, okay, what you doing, what I'm doing. And one thing we got to understand as Pan-Africanists of the new generation, because in my opinion, I think Dwayne is of that, that old school stock. I'm talking about the new regime. We don't get into conflicts or confrontations with our brothers in terms of their political affiliations, their religious affiliations, as long as we understand, regardless of whatever banner that we fly under, whatever walk of life we come from, as long as we understand, you my brother, I got you. And I think that's something the previous generation couldn't really understand. Like, if you're not a Christian, I can't rock with you. If you're not a Muslim, I can't rock with you. You're not a Democrat, I can't rock with you. You ain't doing this, I can't rock with you. I can't speak for everybody, but my criteria for a real Pan-Africanist, I usually ask the same question. Do you believe in the empowerment, the political empowerment, the economic empowerment, and the social empowerment of black people everywhere they are across the world? And when I say empowerment, I'm talking about the ability to be self-sufficient and the ability to exert power when you sit at the table among the community of nations, among the international community, having the ability to set your own agenda and pursue your own agenda regardless of any opposition. And in that process, secure prosperity for your people. As long as you're on board with that, I don't care what God you worship. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care what you do on the weekends. It is what it is. We chasing the same objective at the end of the day. Let's get back into it.
I'm the only one reading it, but I've read it.
Let me get back to the article. This thing is Brandon is not a serious Pan-Africanist. Coming from this guy who somehow is a serious Pan-Africanist, but nobody can really tell you what he's physically doing for the furtherance of Pan-Africanism. Yeah, well, after all, this is a man who confused Kwame Nkrumah and Kwame Ture. Okay, two of the most important figures, I don't believe that, in the history of the Pan-African movement. After watching the exchange in the video below in which Brandon chastises African Americans for not supporting Donald Trump, further reinforces my view that Brandon is not serious about Pan-Africanism. Two-party system in the United States is one which both parties essentially uphold the white supremacist system. So it is really an exercise in voting for the lesser of the two evils. Brandon obviously holds a view that Joe Biden is the greater evil, and he sides with Trump over Biden for this reason. But his discussion on Trump lacks any serious Pan-African analysis. Pan-African analysis. For example, it went underreported in the American media that Trump's administration intervened in Guyana's elections to impose sanctions on the incumbent APNU plus AFC government to force the government to concede its electoral defeat. This is the same Trump who then refused to concede defeat when he lost.
All right, we back. Now, I got to be honest, man. Right off the bat in the article, Dwayne says, Brandon, you a fake Pan-Africanist. You voted for Trump, and Trump intervened in the elections in Guyana. Now, first things first, I'm not going to get into it right here because this video is not going to be a history lesson or anything like that. But we got to understand, internally, like with any other country, internally, the different political factions are going to have their verbal confrontations, their disputes, and their disagreements. But outwardly towards the world, externally, when it comes to their foreign policy, they are in agreement, they are in lockstep when it comes to maintaining American supremacy across the globe. So when it comes to the topic of foreign policy, there is no lesser of two evils. Whether you put a Democrat in the seat, a Republican in the seat, you're always going to have America trying to influence elections, overthrow governments, overthrow regimes. It doesn't matter who you put inside the seat. And as we can see in the article, Dwayne tries to use the politics of Guyana as an example of see what the Republicans did, see what Trump did. But guess what? I could give you 5 different examples in the past century where I could say, look what the Democrats did to my country, brother. Because guess what? It doesn't matter who's in the goddamn seat. The foreign policy of the United States remains the same. It doesn't matter who the hell is in charge. It doesn't matter who's the head of state. And in fact, I put out a video last week and I was speaking about U.S. foreign policy during the Clinton administration. Yes, the Bill Clinton that everybody loves and admires. The same Bill Clinton that went on Arsenio Hall and played the saxophone. And when he was sitting in the seat, it didn't matter. It didn't make no difference. It was still political interventions. It was still military invasions. Because y'all gotta understand, the different political factions, they might have disagreements internally about how the country should be run domestically and internationally. But when it comes to keeping a foot on everybody's neck, nigga, it don't matter. What, nigga, what? Listen, they coming for that bread, they coming for that power. So off the bat, the article starts on a bad foot because you're coming at his character and not attacking the argument. And number 2, you're trying to frame it as an argument about foreign policy when it doesn't make no difference about who is sitting in the goddamn seat. The foreign policy remains the same. Now, let's get back into it.
Malcolm X clearly highlighted the liberal as the most dangerous threat to black people. You can't school me about Malcolm X. Anyway, he enforces one. Okay, so this situation in Guyana merely exposed the fact that Trump is no different than any other president before him where African people are concerned. Okay, he enforces one standard on African people while practicing a different standard himself. Brandon probably isn't aware of this, nor do I think he cares. I don't care. I expose the fact that he's supposedly a Pan-Africanist, but on his platform, he rarely addresses issues outside of the United States. Yeah, because Pan means all people that are black all over the world. I don't really get into the politics and issues in other black countries because honestly, I really have no power to impact that in any way.
All right, we back. Now, listen, I'm gonna be honest, man. The article is kind of starting out weak. At first, we said, you're not a real Pan-Africanist because you voted for Trump. That was his first critique. Number 2, he said, you're not a real Pan-Africanist because Trump intervened in the politics of Guyana and you voted for Trump. Number 3, he said, you're not a real Pan-Africanist because you are not reporting on the news of every single black country around the world. I'm gonna be honest, man. Dwayne, you gotta come harder than that, bro. Because every critique that you launch in his direction can be sent back in the opposite direction. And even on my channel, I stay away from the political discussions because it's always going to end in a stalemate. When people start talking about the lesser of two evils, there is no victory at the end of the tunnel. It's a worthless discussion to have. And I'm still standing on what I said earlier. Trying to start conflict among your brothers about whatever political side of the aisle they fall under, it's stupid because every country that you go to, in my experience, and this holds true in my anecdotal experience, it's not something that's unique to the United States. When it comes to politics, when it comes to voting, black people, we don't vote for things like, interests and things like that. We don't vote for that. We vote for, my parents support this party, so that's who I'm rocking with. We've been voting this way for X amount of years, so I'm just gonna uphold tradition. Oh, my cousin, he's a minister in this party, that's who I'm rocking with. My father is friends with a senator in this party, that's who I'm rocking with. My frat brother is a politician in this party, that's who I'm rocking with. And something else that you see in at least black countries that I've been to, mine especially, if you're not down with my political party, you're not affiliated with my political party, then I see you as the enemy. That's the mentality of black people when it comes to politics in many countries, not just the United States. This is a constant source of confrontation amongst black men everywhere you go to. When it comes to politics and religion, all of a sudden, we're not brothers no more. We're not family no more. Oh, you part of this political party? I'm not rocking with you. You don't follow Jesus? I'm not rocking with you. You don't worship Allah? I'm not down with you. And that's why I said what I said in the beginning. We got to break them barriers down, man. We got to break them walls down. That shit is stupid. That shit is dumb. It holds us back in a lot of ways. Let's get back into it.
Look, I'm in Africa doing the work. I'm doing the work. I'm having the conversations.
So Dwayne is tapped in. Let's move
Dwayne,
forward.
go ahead. Say whatever you want to say, Dwayne.
Oh no, I mean Lumumba invited me on. He told me you're doing the live about me. So I mean, my thing is, what's your issue with me?
Okay, who did you vote for in the last election, Dwayne?
I don't like I explained.
Bro, treat it like one of these articles. Treat it like one of these articles. And who did you vote for in the last election?
I don't support either white supremacist party.
Did you vote, period?
No.
Okay, so you're a non-participant. So you're okay with letting other people decide what happened with your life. Basically.
I don't deal with white supremacist party. So if you want to support one white supremacist party over the other, that's your prerogative. But that's not
if I want to support one white supremacist, so you're throwing white supremacists. So you don't live in America. Nothing that the white supremacists do that doesn't impact you at all.
It impacts. I mean, I explained in my article. It impacts Guyana. Apparently, you don't care, but I'm a Pan-Africanist. I do care about Africa.
Are you from Guyana? Are you from Guyana?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't care about Guyana. You should care about that's where you come from.
You're not a Pan-Africanist. You know how many Pan-Africanists Guyana's produced that have done more than you have? Well, exactly. That's my point. You're really a Pan-Africanist.
I can care about the people of Guyana while not caring about the.
How would you care about the people if the American government is intervening in the politics of Ghana and you don't care about that?
I'm not gonna lie, that's the stupidest argument that I've ever heard, because by that same logic, then I can say anybody that votes Democrat is not a Pan-Africanist, because the Democrat Party has been supporting the illegitimate regime of Ariel Henry in Haiti for the past 3 years and appointed him as the de facto leader of the country with no election. And I'm hearing that the international community does not want to hold elections for the next at least 3 years. But that goes back to my original point. When you frame the argument in terms of foreign policy, there is no political party affiliation. When it comes to that, they're all on the same accord. They're all on board. Their agenda when it comes to foreign policy internationally, it's America first. It doesn't matter if you Democrat, Republican, you banging for that American flag. So in my opinion, I think the brother Dwayne has a personal problem with Pan-Africanism Strikes Back with Brandon. I think he has a personal issue, but trying to frame it in terms of foreign policy, it don't work, bruh. It don't work. There is no political party in the United States that has a position towards black countries that is favorable towards black countries. Their agenda is the same agenda that it's always been, whether it's a Democrat or whether it's a Republican. Their mentality is the same. I'm coming to conquer. I'm coming to win. I'm coming to defeat everybody who stands in front of me. I'm coming to be number one. And if a black man anywhere in the world decides to stand in front of me and stand against me, I'm going to erase him from existence. So it doesn't matter if it's a Democrat or a Republican. The agenda stays the same. Let's get back into it.
I'm not going to be long. Give me 2 minutes of even that. You know, when I went to Ghana and I sat down with Dr. Gabon, he made a great point. If you're living in the United States of America, we are all complicit. All of us are complicit when it comes to America getting involved in disrupting the elections in Guyana, to the drones bombing civilians in Somalia. We are all complicit because at the end of the day, our tax dollars are used to and go towards the disruption of these of these other countries. So again, we are all complicit. So that's why, when articles like this are written, it's a slippery slope, especially if you live in America and if you're a taxpayer.
All right, we back. Now, I think the good brother, Search for Uhuru, Donna Samir, he actually laid out an amazing point that I've mentioned many times before on my channel. And in fact, when I did the video and I talked about the 1915 invasion and occupation of Haiti a century ago, at the end of the video, I had said, every time I pay taxes, I feel like a traitor to my ancestors. Because like Dinan said, we are all complicit. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, Republican, you pay taxes, you enrich the American economy, you enrich the American machine, you enrich American hegemony across the globe. It doesn't matter. You try to wipe your hands clean like I'm innocent. You're not innocent. That's why a lot of discussions like these are stupid to me, because at the end of the day, you can try to act all revolutionary as much as you want. You still paying taxes. You still getting up every goddamn day. Most of y'all ain't business owners, so you getting up, you're working for the white man. You know what I'm saying? You're paying your bills to the white man. You paying taxes to the white man. And the white man then goes off and takes the money that you gave him, working for him, and paying your taxes towards him, and paying him and buying his goods and services. He takes that money, reinvests it back into his military machine, back into his media machine, back into his financial machine. And then he goes off, takes that money, and links up with his brothers from different locations, the white Frenchman, the white Britishman, you know what I mean? They sit at the table together when you're not there, because in case you didn't know, when they have those certain confidential conversations, it's a whites only party. Whites only invited. Only whites invited. So your black ass ain't over there. You know what I'm saying? When they sit at these confidential conversations, ain't no black men in the room. Like the Berlin Conference. Nigga, wasn't no black men in the room. It wasn't no African kings in the room. The Liberian president wasn't in the room. The Haitian president wasn't in the room. It was white boys only. And that policy still stands today. So after you get done working for the white man, paying your taxes to the white man, he takes that money, reinvests it to maintain his power over your black ass. And to make you feel better about your predicament, he allows you to go on social media, allows you to go on YouTube and talk shit about him, call him racist, call him a supremacist, call him evil, call him all type of names. But at the end of the day, he knows the power is firmly in his side of the court. Because instead of going for power, many of us are focused on some type of truce, some type of treaty, some type of mutual agreement, some type of, mutual concession on both sides where, the lesser of two evils, if I can find enough good white people to, get on my side, then hopefully we can, no, because y'all don't want to go for power and they know that. So they know that power is firmly going to remain in their court because you bullshitting. You bullshitting. You think the fact that you think there's a lesser of two evils shows that you ain't ready for power. Let's get back into it.
Hold on. It's Dwayne's turn. What I want to say is countries like Guyana's pretty much getting taken over by other races like the Chinese and stuff.
Hey,
Hence
Brandon,
right?
give me 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Go ahead.
I was going to bring that up too. So when I fly out of JFK to go to to Africa, I take my groups to Africa. Like all the Guyanese who are there, they're all Indian. Like I'm from Guyana. I mean, they're all Indian. So is it really an?
Wait, who's from Guyana? You are?
No, I'm just saying. Every Guyanan I meet, every Guyanan I've ever met was an Indian.
Yeah, so the first thing that I'll say is, Brandon, you don't even know me, so I don't know why you're making these very deeply personal arguments about someone you don't know. And it's very obvious to me that your feelings are hurt by this article, and your arguments are very emotional. So what I would say about me and the work I've done in the United States, I've actually done work for voting rights. So even if I don't believe that African people should be voting for one white supremacist party or the other, these are issues that I fought for, and I do believe that African Americans should have the rights to vote for either party if that's their prerogative and their desire to do so. So locally, I've done that work, and as a Pan-Africanist, I've done work in many different countries. So the reality is, you're proving to me you're not a Pan-Africanist. You don't even know very much about the history of Guyana, and Guyana's produced many influential Pan-Africanists. And if you understood the history of Guyana, you'd understand that American meddling in Guyana goes back to the 1960s. This is not a new issue; it's been going on for several decades. So really, that's all I got to say. This exchange has been proving my point that you're not a serious Pan-Africanist. You don't even understand these issues. So the counter arguments you have to make against me are not even rooted in any factual analysis. You just have to take these personal shots at me, and the personal shots don't work because, like I said, you don't even know me.
Like I said, man, the entire argument of foreign policy is a stupid debate. He said the United States has been meddling in Guyanese politics since the 1960s. Brother, the American government has been meddling in Haitian politics since 1799. And just recently, the Haitian president was assassinated, and right under the nose of the FBI and the CIA with a bunch of informants involved in the plot, and the grand masters of the FBI, the master detectives of the FBI, they have no idea what happened. After damn near 3 years, they still can't tell you what the hell happened. Don't nobody know what happened. Right under the nose of the US government. And to summarize my opinion, there's a lot of different ways we can hold black conservatives accountable. But I think that the brother has a personal problem with Trump because during the Trump administration, they were involved in meddling in political interventions in his government, in his home country. But what you got to understand is when Trump was doing that, he was not politically intervening in the politics of foreign nations for the Republican Party. He was not a representative of the Republican Party. He was the representative, the head of state of the United States government. Just like when Bill Clinton strong-armed the Haitian government and told him to drop the tariffs from 50% down to 3%, he was not doing that in the name of the Democrat Party. He did not say, hey, listen, this bill from the Democrat Party. No, nigga, he said, listen, this bill from the United States government. And that's what y'all got to understand. But like I said, black people, we get so attached with our, political affiliations. And I don't like how the fact the brother is like dancing in the middle. Brandon talks about that a lot on his channel. These black people who, deep down you vote, deep down you down with the Democrats, you down with Joe Biden. But why don't you just say that? Speak like a man, bro. Stand on the podium like a goddamn man and say, listen, I'm down with the Democrats. That's what it is. I'm banging for the Democrats. Those my boys. The one thing I can respect about Brandon, he says it like a man. He says, listen, I'm down with the Republicans. It is what it is, bro. I'm down with it. I'm down with the Republicans. They'll support a political party. Their entire family tree, the whole lineage will support a political party. But when you ask them what you support, they won't stand up like a goddamn man and say it with their chest and hold their nuts and say, listen, I'm down with the Democrats. What up? You know what I'm saying? Stand like a man and be like, listen, I'm down with the Democrats. That's what I'm banging with. So where I stand on this, I think a lot of Dwayne's arguments, they came out weak. They didn't really attack his argument. It was a lot of personal attacks, personal jabs, and it was a lot of, personal feelings involved. The Guyanese politics, Guyanese intervention. He has a chip on his shoulder because of the Guyanese elections. Bro, get in line, bro. Get in line, my nigga. It's a whole list of countries being politically intervened and all type of shit, bro. Get in line, bro. It ain't the first, it ain't gonna be the last, and you ain't gonna stop it either. It doesn't matter how many Democrats you put in the seat. It is what it is, man. Let's get back into it.
Under Trump, AFRICOM also expanded its airstrikes in Somalia. So, as far as that, at least their countries are all black and not overrun with East Indians. On top of that, you have to understand that there's two parties in every country. And one party might side with the United States and say, hey, can we use your help to gain power? And they make deals for that. Africans are running Africa. And if an African nation or one entity within the African nation decides to call them the U.S. and make a deal with them, what am I going to do about that? The United States is just walking up and talking, hey, nigga, this is what it's going to be. There's literally people making deals. Hold on, Sheila Moon, but please don't do that. Don't try to.
You're making claims that are disingenuous,
listen, man.
All right, we back. Now, Brandon touched on a very interesting topic. In the article, Dwayne had mentioned that the Trump administration was working in lockstep with the Togolese government. As we all know, I forget the guy's name in power, but he's been in power for a very long time, for decades, I think longer than I've been alive. And everybody knows he's an agent of the Western powers, but that's not what I'm talking about here today. Brandon had said there are political factions in every country that they make deals with the Western powers. You know how people always say the United States, oh, they forced them to do that. Oh, they were forced to do it by the Western powers. They were forced. They were helpless. They were forced. Like, for example, they talk about how Haiti had to pay the billions of dollars, that debt of reparations to the French slaveholders. Oh, the Haitians, they were forced to do it. They were helpless. They had no choice. They were forced. When in reality, the regime in power when that deal was made was the mixed race sons of the white Frenchmen and the black women, who are more than happy, more than willing, and more than ready after over a decade of negotiations, and now they were finally in power to pay their fathers, their grandfathers, their uncles, their cousins reparations for the slaves and the property they lost during the Revolutionary War. They were not forced to do it. It was a mutual agreement amongst family members, amongst white Frenchmen and their mixed race sons and their mixed race grandsons. But black people, we love to go back and revise the history to make us look like the innocent victims. Oh, they forced us to do it. The white man forced me to do it. No, nigga. You was willing to do it, and your political faction was willing to work with the enemy. And nigga, y'all cut a deal. Y'all cut a backdoor deal. It is what it is. And what Brandon is saying in response to Dwayne Wong trying to lay down judgment upon the U.S. government, he's saying, listen, there's political factions inside the country that are willing to work with the United States government. So we can't really sit back and say, nigga, it's Trump or Biden, it's this and that, when you got enemies within. If there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do no harm. And that's why I say it's a new generation of Pan-Africanists, bro. We off that victim mentality, blaming the white man for the fact that I got no toilet paper to wipe my ass. Nigga, we done with that shit, bro. We done with that, bro. It's 100% accountability. Listen, we taking charge of our whole existence. Enough of this, the white man, this, the white man, that, the white man. Listen, the white man got one agenda and he's coming. It don't matter what type of political banner he's flying under. It's the same agenda. I'm coming to conquer your dumb ass. That's the agenda. So your agenda as a black man should be, how can I stop that? Not only that, how can I exert my own agenda above his agenda, and which agenda is going to reign supreme at the end of the day? Let's get back into it.
You're faking ignorance. You're feigning ignorance to justify being in the middle of a situation where no black person can afford to stay in the middle.
But here's the thing: you've already said you don't care about Ghana, so right there you expose the fact that you're not Pan-African. Like, which Pan-African?
So does that hurt your feelings?
No, but it just exposes my point that the fact that you don't care about Ghana. So my thing is, what Pan-Africanists would take a position that they don't care about a particular country with African people?
Guyana's not even a black country, bro. Just accept that.
America's not a black country. So what's your argument?
It's not. It's not. I
just looked this up. Guyana is 40% Indian, 30% African. Well, actually 50% African. It's 50% African, 40% Indian. So it is.
All right, Dwayne, listen, bro. You got to go back to the drawing board and write a new article. You cannot be determining if somebody's a Pan-Africanist based on the knowledge they have about a particular country or a political intervention made by the American government. Like I said, if that's the case, then we all a bunch of demons. We all a bunch of hypocrites. We all a bunch of devils. We all a bunch of traitors to our race, because the United States government, it doesn't matter who you put in power. They coming for the power. They coming for the prestige. They coming to be number one everywhere they go. And like Brandon said, you got to stop standing in the middle. Oh, I don't pick a side. Everybody's a white supremacist. The Democrats and the Republicans, both sides. Nah, bro, you got to pick a side. Everybody knows which side you on, but you're not man enough. You're not man enough to hold your nuts and say it with your chest and say, listen, I'm a bona fide Democrat. That's what I bang. You know what I'm saying? That's what I represent. Yeah, Democrat. You see, when it comes to my home country, at the end of the day, they represent for their political party, man. They gonna say, listen, I'm from this political faction. That's what I represent. And I'm gonna die about that shit. And sometimes the discussions, they get very emotional and very heated. And you gotta, pull them to the side and be like, listen, bro, we all family at the end of the day. Don't forget that. We all Haitians. Don't get too carried away in this political shit. You forget that we all Haitians. We all brothers. You talking crazy right now. Relax. But at the end of the day, they still gonna tell you what it is. I don't like that, man. The black Democrats, man, stop being a bunch of spineless jellyfish. Stand on your position like a man. Say I'm a Democrat, and that's what I represent. That's what I bang for. And something else we got to address, because Dwayne keeps coming back to this same topic over and over again. You don't care that Trump intervened in Guyana. You don't care that Trump intervened in Guyana. Bro, Guyana ain't no black African, nation like that, my nigga. It ain't no Pan-African, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a bunch of mixed race individuals running around, a bunch of mulattoes and hexadecaroons and octoroons and quadroons and a bunch of Indians and a bunch of whites and a bunch of, white Europeans. And like I said, I don't want to do any personal attacks, but your last name is Wong. Your last name is Wong. That's not an African last name. That's not even a European last name. You could say, we got it from the plantation. I don't know where Wong came from. So, bro, I don't think your mother was keeping it Pan-African. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if your grandmother was keeping it Pan-African. I don't really know your orientation or your origins or anything like that. But I don't think the women in your family was keeping it Pan-African in the bedroom. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's a bunch of multiracial action, a bunch of mixed race action going on in that country, a bunch of mingling and mixing. So, I mean, it is what it is, bro. The multiracial countries, they're not high on the radar. I'm sorry, bro. It just is what it is, bro. You got to take a seat in the back. At the DMV, when you go to the DMV, they tell you, take a number. We get back to you, my nigga. All that mixing and mingling, nigga, we get back to you, my nigga. Let's get back into it.
It was your job to make us aware of what was going on so we could use our platforms to spread awareness about what was going on. And I would have came out and been like, yo, Trump needs to leave Guyana alone, simply for the fact that I'm a conservative and I believe in non-intervention. Like, we shouldn't be interfering in nobody's elections, period. I don't care if it's a black country, white country, blue country, purple country, pink country. Our taxpayer dollars cannot be wasted on that type of stuff. But instead of working with me, so-called Pan-Africanists, and saying, look, even though I don't agree with the guy's political views, maybe I could reach out to him in an email or something, and he could help me spread awareness about Guyana. You chose to attack me, tell me I'm not a Pan-Africanist, all this stuff. Because even as a conservative, you didn't want to find a common ground. You wanted to be adversarial and try to tell me what I am and what I'm not. And that's okay. The difference is, now you're going to get this version of me who's just making you look like a fool because now you're walking back. You've changed your entire argument, and your article is heavily biased towards Guyana. Whatever happens in Guyana decides how you feel about anything. Okay. Trump's remarks about Haiti and African nations were widely covered by the media. So I will only comment on those remarks to state that Trump is someone, you mean the white supremacist, that Trump is someone who has consistently demonstrated nothing but contempt for African people.
Now, on this part of the article, Dwayne Wong says that Donald Trump, he called black nations, he called certain nations, as he called it, crap hole countries. Listen, at the end of the day, bro, like I said, using my own country as an example because he's using his own country as an example. He says since the 1960s, the American government has been intervening in Guyanese politics, things like that. I said since the 1790s, the United States and her allies have been intervening in Haitian politics, regardless of whatever political faction was sitting in government during that time. And if you notice, Dwayne is bringing up a lot of emotional arguments, and that's really what it has to be in order for anybody to really get behind any of these political parties. On whatever side of the aisle you fall on, it has to be some level of emotion attached to it because logically, it doesn't really make sense because if you're not coming with money to the table, coming with power to the table, you ain't got no influence to, sway the elections any which way, to be honest, like that. That's why even Pan-Africanism Strikes Back, he said, listen, I don't got no power to stop U.S. foreign policy in Africa. I don't got that type of influence. And he's absolutely right. Whoever you vote for, it doesn't matter because the agenda must go on. The show must go on. And the show is called The Americans Run the World. That is the name of the show. That's the name of the game. And the show must go on. So unless you come in with your own agenda to the table, like I said before, coming with your own agenda and the power to enforce your own agenda regardless of the opposition, then you ain't really talking about nothing. You ain't talking about nothing serious for real. And when he was called up to the podium and Brandon asked him, who did you vote for in the last election? He tried to fall down the middle once again and said, I don't vote for nobody. But at the end of the day, you can't attack someone for voting a certain way and you don't even vote. You see, me, I don't vote. But at the same time, I don't condemn my brothers for voting any which way they vote. You still my brother at the end of the day. I'm not affiliated with no political party. I'm not riding with no political party. I'm not part of any political bloc. And I think we got to let that go because in the new generation of Pan-Africanism, back in the day, you could say, oh, I'm a better black man than you because I vote Democrat. I'm a better black person than you because I vote Democrat. But see, in the age of information, we're not riding with those old standards now. It doesn't matter now. It don't matter. We looking at the black Democrat just as the same as we looking at the black conservative. we looking at y'all the goddamn same. And I say that in terms of when I look at foreign policy, when I look at the agenda of the United States, there is no difference when it comes to who you put inside the seat. Now, domestically, it might be different because they disagree on how the country should be run internally in terms of the finance and things like that. But internationally, outside of the borders of the United States, it's the same agenda for power, the same agenda for dominance. So it doesn't matter. As a Pan-Africanist, looking at the landscape internationally, I look at them the goddamn same. Let's get back into it.
We should care about Guyana. It's scheduled to be one of the fastest growing economies, vast land and underpopulated. Black Guyanese are not doing well. Well, they're getting what they voted for. Akil, thank you so much for the
because the American government intervened to make sure they didn't
then they need to have a civil war then.
So you're conflict civil war?
Somalia do it yeah, I am. If you're not getting what you want and there's outside forces intervening, you need to go to war, bro. That's the African way. There's two things Africans did. They either migrated away or they went to war. That's your two choices. If you don't want to go to war, then you gotta run, brother. That's it.
Now listen, y'all know me, man. Listen, I'm Haitian. That's the language I speak. When I hear my brothers talk like that, that's the language that I understand very well. I speak fluent in that language. It's the facts, brother. It's the facts. You don't like what's going down in the country? Listen, you either get the hell up out of there, you run to safety so you can get a chance to raise your kids in a tranquil environment, peace and tranquility and stability, or my nigga, you pick up your machete, you pick up your shotgun, you pick up your Kel-Tec, you pick up your FNN, you pick up your 50 caliber shotgun, 50 caliber pistol, 50 caliber rifle, and nigga, you take to see the government. And to be honest, when it comes to Haitians, we took that shit a little too seriously. Like when Brandon says that's the African way, that's what the black man does. You either migrate or you pick up arms against the goddamn government. It's the facts, bro. It's the facts. And history will tell you that. Black men, yeah, that's what we do. We don't like what's going on. We either migrate, start our own little nation, start our own kingdom, start our own clan, break off from the original tribe, or we pick up arms and nigga, it's wartime, baby. That's what the black man does historically. We have the historical records to back that up. And to be honest, a lot of these fake revolutionaries in the modern day, once you start talking about that, that's when they pump their brakes. Whoa, brother, chill, brother, relax, brother. We don't want to hurt nobody, brother. Relax, brother. But it's the facts, man. Just going over Haitian history off the top of my head, bro. Dessalines was overthrown 1806. Christophe was overthrown 1820. Jean-Pierre Boyer overthrown 1843. Charles Vieira overthrown 1844. General Sudouk overthrown 1859. General Geoffroy overthrown 1867. General Sylvain Sanab overthrown 1869. Michel Domingue overthrown 1876. General Solomon overthrown 1888. Florent Hippolyte, I think he had a heart attack. General Vibert Sam 1915. And just because I know Dwayne Wong is from that old school cloth of Pan-Africanism, the one that was focused on the books and the African garments and the African clothing and things like that, a Pan-African scholar that I'm sure he's familiar with, who goes by the name of Antenor Furman, I did a video on him entitled Germany's Involvement in the 1902 Haitian Civil War, and I spoke about the fact that Antenor Furman, yes, he was a scholar, he was an anthropologist, he was a lawyer, he was a scientist, he was a genius, but he was also a warrior who took up arms against his own government because he felt the corruption was running rampant. So he didn't sit around reading books, he didn't sit around, you know what I mean, writing articles. Antenor Furman said, nigga, it's wartime, baby. Nigga, where the motherfucking shotgun at, nigga? We riding down on Port-au-Prince tonight. Now, unfortunately, the opposition, they had assistance from the international community, the Germans, the United States Navy. So Antenor Furman was unsuccessful in his 1902 rebellion. I did a video on that entitled Germany's Role in the 1902 Civil War. Check it out in my catalog. But at the end of the day, it's the facts, my brother. You don't like what's going on in your country? You saying they imposing leaders, de facto leaders, puppet governments? Nigga, you know what to do. You know what to do, my brother. You know what to do. I don't gotta say nothing. You know what it is. Let's get back into it.
Listen, because that's what men do. I don't know what y'all do, but that's what men do. That's what Afghanistan did. That's what Syria did. That's what China would do. That's what Russia would do. That's what men do. Y'all don't want to be men. You guys want to be children of the United States and whatever bullcrap y'all trying to make work through diplomacy. They showed you. They don't give a shit about what you think. So now you're going to have to go to war or you're going to have to migrate. Those are your two choices. The people in my country, they don't want to go to war. So you know what I got to do? I got to migrate then because our heart ain't in it. You know what I'm saying? You want me to tell you some feel good shit. That's not this channel. Go to war or get the hell out of there. Those are your two choices. My family.
And that's a fact, man. You either gonna relocate to a more peaceful environment or grab your weapon, grab your machete, grab your shotgun, and let that bitch sing, man. Let that bitch sing like Fantasia. Let that bitch sing like Mariah Carey on The Goddamn Enemy. And even Brandon said it. He said that's part of the reason why he's relocating to Kenya and establishing a base in Kenya because he knows, man, ain't nobody in America gonna overthrow the goddamn government. He knows that's not on the agenda. Ain't nobody trying to bleed for black empowerment. Ain't nobody trying to bleed for this shit. So let's stop the games, man. Let's stop it. Let's stop the games right now. And first of all, disclaimer, I'm not endorsing that at all. I'm not endorsing that as the first option, second option, third option. Everybody knows that's final resort, that's last resort, that's final option. When you go to picking up the arms, that's the last course of action after all other forms of communication have failed with the opposition. Then at that point, it's time to bleed. You know what I'm saying? That's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. But I don't endorse it because looking at the history of my country, that did not serve us any which way. Maybe we should have spent more time sitting at the table as brothers instead of just, grabbing the weapon immediately. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to Haitian history, usually, we grab the weapon immediately. We don't really go through the whole talking and, we might talk a little bit, but then it's like, all right, nigga, I'm gonna see you on the battlefield, my nigga. But we should have stopped that. Sometimes diplomacy is a good thing. Diplomacy is a good thing. Talking it out is a good thing. The physical confrontation should be last resort. but it should be a resort. It should be on the table, but it should be the last option on the table. Let's get back into it. All right, man. Matter of fact, listen, I'm not going to let the video run too long. I'm going to stop it right here. We're going to wrap it up right here. Go check out the entire debate on Pan-Africanism Strikes Back's channel. I'm going to tag him in the title of this video. Y'all can check it out if y'all want. Very interesting debate and discussion. I don't judge any brother who's a conservative, Republican, liberal, Democrat. It is what it is. In the new generation of Pan-Africanism, it's not about the books. It's not about the African clothing, the African jewelry. It's not about none of that dumb shit. It's about, what are you building for our people? Are you feeding our people? Is there tangible evidence of the positive things that you're doing for our people? Can anyone vouch for you? For example, Brandon talked about the people that he employs in Kenya, the opportunities that he grants in Kenya. And because of that, there are people in Kenya who can vouch for him, because not only does he contribute to the economy, but he's also contributing to the livelihood of many people down in Kenya. So that is a tangible thing, something that people can vouch for you for. But we got to start bringing in the Pan-African types. That's about dollars and cents, making a dollar, contributing, feeding our people, putting food on the table. I have nothing against the old school Pan-African types. That's all about, reading the books and all about the scholarship. Much respect to you, bro. Much love. But going all the way back to the days of Marcus Garvey and W.E.B. Du Bois, it's always been that clash and confrontation between the black man that's, listen, I'm about the establishment of infrastructure. I'm about creating jobs and establishing a better livelihood for our people around the world. And when you create a lane for somebody to not only feed themselves but feed their family, bro, that's gonna mean way much more to them than whatever new book you can put them onto and be like, yo, I read a crazy book, blah, blah, blah. Listen, motherfuckers is trying to feed their family, bro. They're trying to feed their family. Everybody is trying to eat and establish a peaceful life for their children. So if Brandon is living by the Pan-African code, by establishing economic networks around the world with black people from different locations, then who am I to sit up on my high horse and try to lay judgment upon that man because he doesn't vote the same way I do? I guarantee the people in Kenya don't give a goddamn about your little internal disagreements about the Democrats and the Republicans. They're not even thinking about that shit because they got their own political disagreements inside their own country with their own political factions. The same thing that happens around the world. And I guarantee most American citizens couldn't even name a single political party outside of the United States, outside of the Democrats and the Republicans. They couldn't name a single political party in any country. But that's irrelevant because Pan-Africanism is a global thing. So all your little local, domestic, regional disagreements among your political factions, it's irrelevant when we sit at the table as brothers and we talking big business, talking Pan-Africanism, all right? All that little shit is irrelevant. The same way the white American and the white Frenchman and the white Britishman, etc., when they sit at the table and they talk big business, they're not coming as, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican representative, I'm a part of the Liberal Party, I'm a part of the Conservative Party. No, they talking, I'm coming to represent my country in these negotiations. And I'm not coming as the liberal president coming to sit with the conservative representative from this foreign country. No, we coming to sit at the table as white men, as men of European descent, and we're gonna talk big business and we're gonna break this bread. They don't get caught up in that dumb shit. And as black men, we shouldn't get caught up in the dumb shit either. So listen, man, at the end of the day, it's your boy Nevercari Desaline back in the building. Yes, indeed. Like, share, subscribe, Cash App in the description. And I'm gone. Peace. Donate to the channel. Support the channel. Peace.
Reincarnated, I'm back in original fashion. I left on a horse and came back in the ass, and I left with abundance and came back to famine. We used to be pyramids, now we be rapping. Look how the mighty have fallen. Used to be running, now we be walking. When you be cooning, that's when they applauded. Selling your soul, your sons and your daughter. Gotta come up in this shit, they stuck in the mix. Really, my heart to be breaking. That's why I'm stacking that paper and handle my business. Pass it down in generation. Talking about money and power and building a nation. That's a deadly combination. Never be watching the TV, they pushing agendas, falsifying information. Know they got malice intentions. Step in the room and I'm feeling the tension. Enemy watching, he blocking my vision. Pay for the check cause I need my redemption. Building my kingdom, I need it protected. Ready for war like a young Money Congo. Never decided the team is the motto. Up in the crib and I'm whipping up waffles. Up in the crib and I'm smoking gelato. I'm chilling, I'm taking my pain and make it ambition. I'm blessed by the gods, but I ain't religious. I came for the power, they came for the bitch. They making no hourly wage, I got business. This shit is an art and they could never be taught. Selling my soul, I can never be bought. Play with my money, I see you ain't caught. Run to the check and I do it for sport. Babylon falling, I go to the source. Packing my luggage and go overseas. Shorty be with me and she so elite. Shorty be chocolate, I'm calling her Hershey. Secret intelligence probably gon' murk me. Don't fuck with brands cause nigga I'm Haitian. Say the wrong shit and you're smacking their faces.